When my mother was 15, her mother disappeared. No explanation, no warning. One day she was there, the next she was not. That was 25 years ago. Time enough for her daughter to become a mother. Time enough for me to become a woman. This film does not ask why my grandmother left, but rather explores her legacy of leaving. Her imprint remains. It has shaped the very nature of my own relationship with my mother, and for that I thank her. Her name is Anne.
My mother was born in 1951, the first and only child of me and Angus. She lived her entire life in East Kilbride, Scotland's first designated new town, a post-war development built to alleviate the housing shortage in Glasgow, a place full of promise for those escaping the overcrowded slums of the city. This is the house she grew up in, where she played and read and laughed and cried, the place where she became a woman. My mother was without doubt a daddy's girl. My papa was an attractive, engaging man, quick to temper and lots of fun. Forced to leave school and support his younger siblings, he had trained as a butcher at 14. He always seemed to have a book nearby, a corner folded to mark his place. He was proud when my mother went to university and dismayed when she abandoned it. They would often talk about books and ideas in a lively and passionate way. My gran was the hardest working woman I have ever known. She stood all day. She worked, she cooked, she cleaned. She was the last to sit down, the first to get up. She was kind. She was generous. She had many siblings and spent a great deal of time with her sisters. She was mostly ignored by her husband and daughter, excluded from their lively exchanges. When my mother left, it broke them, but it bonded them too. My papa was kinder to my gran, more helpful, more affectionate. From that shattering event, they were able to continue, to carry on, not as before, but as something else, something softer. Old resentments gave way to loving solidarity, and as the only grandchild of their only daughter, I was the recipient of that love. Of course, this version of events is unreliable. I am speaking this now as a woman of 40, as a mother. 25 years have passed. My 15-year-old self felt things quite differently, I'm sure. Memory, as life, is messy, and editing is necessary if we are to survive. When something tangible is lost, it becomes memory. When memory begins to fade, we search for something tangible to keep it in view. We imbue objects with meaning. They become sacred. Looking at the objects now, they seem disconnected, disparate, unrelated. A teapot, a box of photographs, a book. Why these things? Why not others? There were once many things belonging to her. They mingled in drawers, on nightstands and wardrobes. Things kept in special boxes with her name on them. Jewellery and handbags and dresses and vases, framed art prints and books and pots and records and on and on. These things of hers became mine and moved with me from place to place, home to home. Things got lost, broken, yet these remain. A teapot, blue. I know it's Denby without checking the base. Denby was special. It was her special teapot. Once a whole set. Dinner plates and side plates and cups and saucers and bowls and a teapot with a lid. The lid is now gone, as is everything else. She drank weak black tea, never coffee, piping hot and often. Tea was a restorer in our house. It was a comforter. Tea relieved thirst. It warmed you up. It made things better. How many cups of tea did I make for her, I wonder? Hundreds, thousands. I would place it at the hatch and race round to the living room and serve it with both hands firmly wrapped around the cup. The steam from it would wet my face, and I remembered the smell of hot, earthy bitterness. Her lips lingering at the brim in a pout, me waiting to see if it was right. A sip. Ah, thank you, darling. Happiness. Looking at this teapot now, I wish that this memory is why I kept it. But the truth is I kept it because it was useful, because it was blue, because it was Denby, and Denby is special. Keepsakes are only for the sake of keeping. We keep them to pass on, to remember and pay reverence to that act of remembering. But memories are tricky. They are both vivid and opaque. They are in constant motion, acting and reacting with our lived experience. We choose what we remember, and I choose to remember the girl on the red bike, a young woman engaged with radical ideas and a mother who loved her blue teapot, a mother of a daughter who herself became a mother. This is a photograph of me with my daughter. In it, she is 10 years old. She is now a woman grown, and I talk to her every day. As the years pass, my memories of her are subtly made and remade. They shift and become other, like riverbeds over millennia. Who she was is also who she is and who she might become. As a child, she was timid, shy, a sensitive wee soul who cared about the world. She kept her toys meticulously clean, as if dirt might somehow disfigure them, erode their imaginative power. She asked questions. I answered honestly. We talked about everything. I wanted to prepare her for this world, as a daughter, as a woman. No mother truly knows what they're doing. You do your best, you learn, you respond to your child as much as they respond to you. You change as they change. Daughterhood and motherhood weave in and out until what appears is the reflection of your own womanhood. I know my daughter. I see her. There is no blue teapot to look to. There are 100 objects, 1,000,000. They matter, they don't. There will always be more. I am her mother. Her name is Karen.
My childhood was unorthodox but loving. It felt like we grew up together, my mother being a child herself when she had me. Now I realise she taught me self-belief and resilience, despite my occasional resentment at the time. Growing up, I wanted to be like my mother. I wanted to be funny and clever like her. But I wanted to be different too. I wanted to shine brighter. I wanted to be a better version. I remember looking at old photographs and asking, "Who's that woman with the red hair, Mummy?" This was the first time I had ever seen my Gran's face. And in it, I could see reflections of my mother, the cheekbones, the eyes. It was then that she told me that her mother had left. Looking back, this knowledge should have saddened me, but it didn't. As a child of 7, it was just another woman in a photograph. As time passed, I thought more about my Gran as a woman. Who was she? What were her hopes? What were her fears? But more than that, I also began to think about the absence of a mother. For many years I dreamt the same dream. In it, my own mother leaves me, but she always returns before I wake up. I haven't dreamt this dream for a long time. It has melted away like the snow melts in spring. But the memory of it remains. The fear too. That unimaginable event, but yet all too real. What would have happened to me if my mother had left? Who would I talk to? Who would make me chicken soup when I was ill? Who would I watch all of those classic films with? How would I know they even existed? Who would have taught me how to be a woman? I am a daughter. Her name is Kira.
Daughters become mothers. Mothers raise daughters. Daughters change mothers. the eternal cycle, generation after generation. Women teach women how to be, how to love, and most importantly, how to remember.
I think about the day that I might become a mother. What kind of mother will I be? How will it change me? What will she be like? What will make her laugh? How will she see the world? How will she remember me? Her name is